At the UFC 197 press conference, the UFC Lightweight champion Rafael dos Anjos and UFC Featherweight champion Conor Mcgregor didn't have nice things to say to one another.
I believe I will dust Rafael inside 1 minute. He is a slower, sloppier version of Aldo. He's like a bum version of Aldo. So I believe in absolutely everything. I believe inside 1 minute I will dust him. I will exit the contest fresh. I will cash the check. I will sign the next contract for UFC 200, the brand new MGM, and we'll go again.
I'm gonna have a chance to finish this fight in the first round, but I won't. I'm gonna punish him all the way to the third or the fourth. I'm gonna make him bleed. You know, he's gonna pay for everything he's talking about everybody, for all the respect this guy has.
During the press conference, Conor McGregor also mentioned that he wants another world title by the end of the year.
I like the sound of that 170-pound title as well. I've got to be honest with myself. I feel I can take down them 3 gold belts. So, and I feel I can do it by the year's end.
A rematch between Tony Ferguson versus Michael Johnson will take place at UFC 197. In their first bout, Michael Johnson defeated Tony Ferguson by unanimous decision on May 5th, 2012. Since that fight, Tony Ferguson has been on a 7-fight winning streak. In his last fight, he defeated Edson Barboza by a Darce choke in the second round. Michael Johnson, however, is coming off a loss in his last fight against Nate Diaz. Sage Northcutt has had a change of opponent. He will now face Bryan Barberena in a welterweight fight at UFC on Fox 18. Bryan Barberena lost his last fight against Chad Laprise at UFC 186 and is 1-1 in the UFC. The new bantamweight champion Dominick Cruz has his eyes set on a third fight with his longtime rival Faber. He said, "We owe it to the fans to make this trilogy happen. It's been almost a decade in the making." Faber submitted Dominick Cruz in 2007 at Featherweight and gave him his only loss. Dominick Cruz got even with the 2011 decision victory at bantamweight for the title. Now both fighters are tied at 1 win each. It makes sense for a rubber match between the two fighters. BJ Penn is coming out of retirement and wants to fight in the featherweight division and eventually win the title. He said he wants to be known as the only man to win 3 world titles in 3 separate divisions. Hearing this news, Jeremy Stevens wants to fight BJ Penn and wants to be the first person to knock him out.
Love to fight a legend like BJ Penn, go in there and handle my job. I'd like to be the first one to knock him out. Believe I can do it. I've wanted that fight for a long time. 155, 145, doesn't really matter. I think it'd be a great fight. The fans would love to see it. I would love to get in there and swing. So let me know if you want that fight, BJ. I'd love to take you and put you back into retirement. With all due respect, brother, but I'm coming to knock you out. Let me know if you want the fight. Call Sean Shelby, Dana White, whatever it is that you got to do.
CM Punk expects fans to be disappointed when he beats up and chokes his opponent in his UFC debut. He said, "I work my ass off every day for this. Do I believe I'm ready? Am I confident in myself? Yes, absolutely." After his recent loss to Eddie Alvarez, Anthony Pettis wants to fight as soon as possible. He wants to get back into action at the first available opportunity. Mike Tyson has been unveiled as a playable character for EA Sports UFC 2. Henry Briones has been pulled out of his fight against Brad Pickett due to injury. Francisco Rivera has stepped up to be the replacement at UFC Fight Night 83 Silva vs Bisping. CEO Heham vs Beck Rawlings has been announced for UFC Fight Night Hunt vs Mir. Diego Sanchez vs Jim Miller has been announced for the UFC 197 prelims. Hector Lombard vs Neil Magny has been announced as the co-main event for UFC Fight Night Hunt vs Mir. Vito Belfort will fight Ronaldo Jacare Souza in the main event for UFC Fight Night Brazil on May 14th. With the fight announcement of Vito Belfort and Ronaldo Jacare Souza and Joel Romero's suspension following a failed USADA test, Chris Weidman may get his rematch against Luke Rockhold. Newly crowned UFC bantamweight champion Dominick Cruz believes he would beat Demetrius Johnson in a rematch if they ever fought again. After Dominick Cruz's victory over TJ Dillashaw, Demetrius Johnson's trainer Matt Hume posted this on Facebook. That's it for this week's MMA update. Stay tuned for next week's MMA release. Thank you.